Right, and now we'll be finishing off Pinwheel Forest. Now, something I haven't talked about is the fact that a legendary Pokemon does appear in this forest. But of course we can't catch it now, we have to wait till later on in the game. And I do really like the trio we get in this game. Well, I say trio, there are actually 4 members of this trio, which is quite fitting because they are based off the 4 Musketeers / 3 Musketeers. But anyway, we'll get to those guys when we get to those guys. And of course, these Pokemon Rangers here, they do use a set of these elemental monkeys. And yes, at this point, Tim Curry has reached level 20. So, yep, he finally evolves into his final form. Now, this Pokemon you will see here, called Leopard, it is, it's pretty cool. I like its purple and yellow colour scheme. It's very dynamic, very bright, and it just looks cool. It's a cool, dark cat. Love it. I imagine if it evolved again, it would maybe evolve into a panther or something. And that does bring up a slight issue with this Pokemon. It's that its stats, it's sort of like a medium Pokemon. Now, granted, it does become very useful in the final fight with the Elite Four, and I do keep it until the end of the game. But playing through this game, there is another Dark type I would have used, and I'll mention it when we see it. But anyway, Leopard is a good Pokemon. It's got like I said, it's less powerful, but it knows Night Slash, or it will learn Night Slash, which has a high critical hit ratio. And also its typing of Dark is very useful against the Elite Four, like I said. And like I said, it's sort of like a medium skilled Pokemon, so at this point it's good. But as other Pokemon get more and more powerful, it will become less good. But oh well. Yeah, essentially I like to use the Pokemon, so I'm going to use it. And it's a small touch, but I like going through these logs here. It just, gives this area, a bit more character. And I said before, something which Pokemon doesn't do is that it gives you like a forest as a dungeon in like an earlier part of the game, but it doesn't later on. And of course, I think that's because you would use Fly to escape it. But like I said, the cave dungeons in this game are more interesting than they were in previous gens. Anyway, TM Grass Knot, which is it's a fairly cool move. It's a move that can be learnt by a lot of Pokemon. It's a special move, and its damage it depends on how big your enemy is. So really, for like big massive rock ground Pokemon, it's very good against those types. But unfortunately, I don't use it. I have like one grass type, and he'll learn other grass moves. And besides, it's a special move, and Superior is kind of a physical grass type. And that's what I like about it. It's sort of like it's got the sweeping qualities of the Trico line, but it's also got some defensive qualities of like the Bulbasaur line. Then I like. If you haven't gathered, my style of Pokemon that I like is the sort of noble Pokemon that look. I don't want to use the term majestic. But you know what I mean. They look fancy, but they also look tough as well. That's what I mean by noble. And Superior has those qualities. And here we have Sandile. And before I was talking about Dark type Pokemon you might use instead of Leopard. And Sandile isn't necessarily the one I was talking about, because again, Brooker will become a ground type Pokemon, and that's why I wouldn't use a Sandile, because he's my ground type. But anyway, like I was saying, if you do want a Dark type, Sandile is actually a good way to go. I mean, granted, being Dark and ground means he is weak against water, grass, bug, and fighting, which is quite a lot. But he's still pretty cool. And here we are, introduced to one of the 7 sages, called Gorm. And this is particularly funny if you're British, because Gorm in Britain is a slang term for a a not very intelligent person, which he's called Gorm. Oh, the hilarity. Speaking of which, I do like how these 7 sages do pop up in the story again. You know, when they're used to seal Ganon in the Twilight Realm, of course. But no, seriously, they do pop up later on, which I appreciate. Although, on the other hand, I don't remember these characters' names. There's like 7 of them. But at least, when they do appear in the game, they do give the gym leaders something to do later on, which I appreciate. And like I've said this before, the gym leaders, they essentially just... They're not huge characters, but they make an appearance in the story. We see more of them. And I'll say this now, I think these guys are the best gym leaders we've had in the entirety of Pokemon. Yep, even better than Brock or Misty. I went there. I mean, I like Brock and Misty, but oh, and Lance as well, and I guess Koga was also had a bit more personality as well, but I mean, overall, these 8 people have more character than the other 8, the other sets of people in the previous gens. Something I've been doing is I've been praising Pokemon Black and White for having more story elements and just having more life, but when I played Pokemon Platinum, I realised that they had tried that before. So this game didn't really come out of nowhere. It's an evolution as they've been going along. And honestly, I do like the story in Platinum over Diamond and Pearl. Just makes it more interesting. It feels like an improvement. Don't worry, Burr. I'll see you when we get there. And I do like how we're given this skull, but then we just have to give it back 5 seconds later anyway. Dragon Skull. That sounds like a move, that does. Superior used Dragon Skull. Superior lowered its head and raised its attack. Superior attacked with Dragon Skull. And here we get a Moonstone, which... I'm trying to think what Pokemon in the regional Pokédex can evolve with a Moonstone. And if there is a Pokemon that can evolve with a Moonstone, which we can get in this game now, I don't know what it is, I've forgotten it. Now, fortunately, we are done with the forest for now. Oh, we get a Miracle Seed. So I guess in reflection I should have picked a different item from the woman in the city, because I would have gotten a Miracle Seed anyway. But anyway, we're done with this part for now. I just wanted to speak to this old guy here and he'll give you a hint about the legendary Pokemon. But with that done, we're done with the forest. Please join me again where we'll be moving on.